Hi, everybody. I'm Neta. I'm a natural language processing expert, and today I will be telling you about my most important project so far, which is detecting suicidal messages over the internet. So let's just jump right into uh, why is it even hard? Like, why do we care to do it? So let's check out these two examples just to get a feel of what people post online. So the left one, the red one says, "This is the end of me, and if my mom hears about it, I will die." So this is the one that your algorithm is most likely to pull out if you're using something basic like a bag of words or another naive method. And it's your common false positive that is likely to stretch your responders, time and efforts and resources, which we don't want. And then the right one reads, "Don't worry about me. I'm not worth it. Save your energy for my kids. I'm sorry, my love. I'm sorry." So, well, could be a false negative there, but not if you train the right models. So let's take a deeper look. Here's the left one. It uses all the right indicators, like the end of me and I will die, and of course all caps. And it actually describes a plan for what needs to happen to get the writer to die. And also, if you count, you'll see that all two of the sentences end with an exclamation mark. So all two of them, that's 100% of the text. It can also bring up the risk score, which I'm going to remind you again, it's not what you want. And then this is the right one. It has none of these mentioned features, nothing alarming, nothing like explicitly alarming. But then you can sense it in the tone that it's something that needs to get more attention. There's something there that really grabs you, and I have made it my goal to capture, this something, and to create technology that detects that automatically. So, well, hi again. I am Neta. I'm a natural language processing expert, and my special skill is consulting to early stage companies on how to build great NLP products. And, I'm a strong believer in bringing tech into traditional industries, and I really love to work on products that do good. And another thing you should know about me is that I have volunteered in an online helpline for 7 years. So I got to manually monitor and read and go over, hundreds of texts over the internet daily, and to actually search for the ones that are indicating that someone's going to kill themselves, real time. So I got to go through all this sea of data for years, and I was trained by mental health professionals to recognize what needs to be picked up, but this was all manually done. So it was never put into scale. And it's all about the little things that they teach you to notice, but it was never tested with, statistical tools and machine learning tools like we're going to see today. So here's what I'm building. It's a system that monitors online activity and detects high-risk situations based on pre-learned features of online behavior, right? So you really want to study online behavior, especially emotional online behavior, and to detect whenever someone is behaving in a way that should raise a flag. So three major components of the system are, well, firstly, scraping and monetization, right? You need to be able to collect the data, preferably in real time. And I cannot stress this enough. You have to comply with security and privacy standards, as it's a mental health domain, which is highly regulated, super sensitive. So you'll have to either cooperate with someone who will give you the data, with license, or you will have to just come up with another way to get quality data. We're not going to discuss this. Just put a pin on it. It's super important. It's actually a barrier when working this field. And then what we are going to discuss today is detection and classification. So you got all this data and you want to find the ones that are actually, crying for help. So using NLP models that convert raw textual data into actionable categories. And you want to combine that with multimodal detection. That means, machine learning models that can actually integrate variables of different types, not only textual, and to enhance NLP models. And we'll discuss that in a minute. And then finally, you have real-time alerting. Early detection is only effective with a robust reporting mechanism. So the output of the AI models needs to interact with emergency care systems, hospitals, police stations, suicide prevention centers, whatever local services you have, or whatever the end client, whatever is relevant to your end client. And then in addition to this applicative part of actually helping people in real time, I take great interest in characterizing how people talk when they are in distress. So this is something personal to me. We already have the DSM, the disorder syndrome manual, which tells you how people behave when they experience specific syndromes. But then it doesn't tell you how they talk, and it doesn't tell you how they write, especially not, online writing, which is kind of a little bit different. So the idea would be just to research and to eventually come up with, like, a suicidal language manual, and an angry language manual, and lonely language manual, so on. So you'll actually be able to train people to notice that, maybe teach teachers to see that in class, and just to educate everyone on how it sounds when someone is in distress, and maybe they could help situations around them. So this is like a longer term goal. It's not happening yet. And let's go back to what we do have. So I'll show you how it's built. Of course, the numbers here that you see on the screen, they can be modified if you're building technology like mine, and if you're stronger on machine learning rather than NLP, you'll switch the numbers. So most of it is NLP models. They actually process textual data to retrieve discourse information, like, topic, intent, sentiment, coherence. This one, we have two types of systems, depending on your platform that you research. Sometimes you want to look for coherence within the text, but then other times you'll have, if you track a user over time, you'll be able to compare different posts by the same user, and then you want to see if you find coherence across different texts by the same writer. And then speaker orientation, whenever you're analyzing conversations, one-on-ones, you have more than one person, and you want to be able to attribute different orientation to the different speakers, because sometimes one of them will be in distress and the other one will be helping out, so they could be using the same semantic, words, same words, but they're not actually feeling the same way. And then eventually another NLP very important input would be, entities, locations, tools, names, whatever is important in your domain. And then on top of that, this NLP input, you want to use context. So it's a way to bring in world knowledge that is not in that specific text, but it's important to consider. So firstly, you'll want to study the platform, like the hub where it was published on. Because people, they tend to talk in a way that is similar to everybody else in that space. So you can't just analyze a single text. You need to know the environment. So whenever you see someone behaving or talking very differently than what's standard for themselves, firstly, but then for the platform, you'll know that they want to be noticed or they want to be heard. So it can be either in, lengthy texts where a specific platform is actually more about short texts, or, the other way around, everybody's talking. And then this person is just publishing just this one-liner. You'll know that there's something that needs attention. And then also some other context worth considering is activity and distribution of activities by these users. So how often does this person comment or post, and what is their history of engagement to that platform? And, if you have identified users, which could happen if you collaborate with data owners, you can actually track users across platforms and to enhance your models with that input. And of course, you can also consider metadata like the number of likes and comments to this post and shares and whatever is coming with it, like photos, attachments, stuff like that. And then on top of that, I leave about 10% of the weight to overriding features that aren't coming from the data, but rather from the client. Sometimes the business needs or domain knowledge that we weren't able to get the models to learn. You want to override with that. Now, okay, so let's take a look at this post and see how it works. I'll give you just 1 second to read it. So it's a woman. We know that she's married and she's a mother of 4. And obviously she doesn't say the word the kids or husband, but she's being very clear to the human reader. She's saying that she's trapped in a violent relationship. Again, she doesn't say trap, she doesn't say violent, and she doesn't even say relationship, but you get that pretty easily. And you can actually sense the trap that she's in if you read it. You can read it out loud. But to an algorithm, this text is not as easy to parse because, she's missing many pronouns. So you can't really get a full parse, like syntax parse of this text that makes any sense. And also, she refers to a man without mentioning who he is even once, so you won't be able to resolve this reference. And she's using a lot of words, but many of them are actually repetitive, so there's very little information compared to the length of the text. You can get pretty easily that the sentiment is negative, but a lot of other NLP models that we use actually fail on this text. So let me show you a few features of the text that are measurable and machine readable, and that are turning this text into something that will get the right scores and will be pulled out. Right, so, well, obviously, short sentences. You can create your own benchmark of average length of sentences depending on like the platform that you research in your data. And then you'll see that a lot of time when people are very emotional, they use longer sentences or shorter sentences, and they actually detract from standard length. And then missing pronouns, words like he and I and me, they are grammatically required here way more times than they actually appear. And also that you'll see that she's unknowingly probably omitting information, and that's very common. Like when you talk about something that's triggering to you, um, you will be omitting words, or you won't be explaining correctly your intentions. So you can actually use either syntax parsing, obviously part of speech tagging, and just to compare that and to see that this person is missing a lot. And then tense. Well, again, usually you'll see that when people are very into their story, they will live out, past, present, and future. They will only focus on one of them. I want to share with you that suicidal messages are often missing present tense. And, posts about triggering events a lot of times don't have future in them. They are all about either past or present. So again, you want to create a benchmark for what is standard distribution of tenses in your data, and just to test each post compared to that. And then repetitions. Well, repetitive representation of a single verb, like in this case, hit or hitting. You can get that just by stemming the verbs or lemmatizing the verb, depending on your language. But then, they don't have to be repeating words. They could be repeating concepts. So they could be actually talking about the same thing, over and over again using different words. And, once again, a lot of times you'll see that when people are very emotional, they will portray this storm, spiral, like way of thinking. And you'll see that in the text. So just to create clusters of concepts to know that they're actually talking about the same thing over and over again, you'll probably, obviously you could use just Word2Vec, semantic graphs, or whatever your favorite clustering method is, but you'll have to be developing one for yourself, because this is very domain sensitive. Okay, and we said that the sentiment is negative, of course. Okay, so a few features you might want to consider throwing in if you're building something like Mind. like mine, semantics and syntax, of course, super important. Starting with just, counting the words, as simple as that, and going into full syntax analysis. So you want to address grammar in a way, because, well, you want to see if this person is using reasonable grammar. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be reasonable. If they are missing a lot of arguments, as we discussed before, if they have this quality of writing that is, deteriorating over time, you'll know that it's risk increasing in a way. Well, you could explore the style, punctuation, white spacing, emojis, slang, whatever they do to express themselves. That is also something that you could factor in. And then structure. Are they forming a list? Any significant repetitions, any abnormal distribution of words, opening each sentence again and again. And I can tell you that I found that many times when people are actually listing things, it's actually it's likely to be an emotional text. So they don't have to be listing objects. They could be listing feelings, or they could be listing, events that are causing them to feel bad, or, whatever. But you'll often see that they will be using uh, this structure to express something. And then let's talk a little bit about counter features. Some features are decreasing the probability of an actual risk, per my research. So, if a person is asking for comments or replies or answers, or if they are conditioning the act of suicide or binding it with future events, those texts are less likely to be the last ones by their writers. So, well, that's me. Please contact me if you have any questions, and thank you for listening. I'm Neta. Bye.